Believe it or not, this Daytona 500 was very good until this happened.
One back and away they go. That is Cindric into Chastain and up into traffic. Did they complete that lap?
NASCAR needs to stop having the Daytona 500 ending under caution. Hey guys, the Daytona 500 has come to a close. Congratulations to William Byron on winning the Daytona 500. I thought the pre-race for the Daytona 500 was not too bad. Fox already shows the cartoon graphics with the drivers side by side with the starting lineup. I don't need to see the cartoon versions of drivers. I get that NASCAR is trying their hardest to get to the younger audience, and I understand that. I'm not against it. At least Fox did not show any children during this Daytona 500.
Beginning of this race is really, how does my car feel? Is it hitting the ground? Am I comfortable in the seat, steering? And we see the same excitement that little guy.
Do not even get me started. I talked about this in my 2024 Daytona 500 predictions video. I really could care less on what they're doing. Just to see Fox doing this and cutting away from the race is very unacceptable. Let's get into the 2024 Daytona 500. The green flag drops for the Daytona 500. I really thought the racing was very good in the beginning. The certain camera angles in this Daytona 500, they were kind of here and there. I really wish they were kind of panning out a little bit further. As for the commentary in the Fox booth, I'm starting to like Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick is going to be very interesting for the Fox booth. Kevin Harvick gives me so much of Wally Dallenbach. I know Wally Dallenbach had his own way of talking and explaining certain things. Really thought Kevin Harvick was pretty solid in the booth. I think Clint Bowyer did alright. I don't think he was great. He was kind of loud in places here and there. The first caution happens on lap 5 when Harrison Burton gets turned in the tri-oval. Seems like that Brad Keselowski got into John Hunter Nemechek, sideswipes Harrison Burton into the tri-oval, involving Carson Hocevar, Austin Dillon, along with others. When they were on lap 5, you can tell that they were getting really squirrely, and everybody was just pushing everybody way too hard. Ryan Blaney takes the lead on lap 12. He was one of my predictions in this Daytona 500. Unfortunately, he was caught up in the big, huge wreck with 9 laps to go. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Chase Elliott also led the Daytona 500. I love Chase Elliott's paint scheme. It reminds me so much of Michael Waltrip's number 15 car. Chase Elliott was kind of here and there during this Daytona 500. He would be in the front and then he would just fall back. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch did not win the Daytona 500 this year. Kyle Busch had a very fast car. Kyle Busch had a lot of mistakes happening on pit road. They would miss a lug nut and they would have to go back in and fix that problem. Pit strategies also mattered in this Daytona 500. The Toyotas started to pit first together, and here I thought that the Toyotas were going to dominate this Daytona 500, and it turns out the Chevrolets were out in front during this Daytona 500 in the halfway point, and it turns out that did make a huge difference for them. Then moments later, the big one happens, collecting at least 20 cars. As you see from the onboard from Alex Bowman, William Byron kept checking up. You knew this was going to happen either way. It was going to the point that the drivers were really desperate. Unfortunately for Brad Keselowski, he gets turned. A lot of people are kind of blaming William Byron starting this huge wreck. In reality, it's Alex Bowman that caused the wreck that turned Brad Keselowski into the field, causing this 20-car some wreck. That's not William Byron's fault. He can't control what happens behind him. It's about making good decisions on the track. And Alex Bowman just went a little too hard. It's just how you push the person in the backstretch leading into the corner. And that's the thing I've noticed with this Gen 7 car. It takes nothing for this car to get loose. It's very kind of squirrely in certain areas of the track. Martin Truex Jr. was involved in this crash. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, a lot of good drivers in this wreck. I just don't know how Ross Chastain got through this wreck. If he was further back, he would have gotten clipped and would have been involved in this wreck. During this Daytona 500, Fox missed out some moments as well. I felt like Fox missed out a lot of drivers that were in the top 10. One of them being Anthony Alfredo and he was not even mentioned. You have Todd Gilliland taking the lead in the Daytona 500, and they completely missed out this moment. Even though that Fox did miss some things here and there, I think this Daytona 500 was very good as for the racing goes. Here are the results of the 2024 Daytona 500. Your winner for this year's Daytona 500 is William Byron. I'm not upset on who won the Daytona 500. The Daytona 500 should not end under caution. NASCAR even shows that William Byron was ahead before the caution flew. I really think that NASCAR really kind of screwed over Alex Bowman in this Daytona 500. I felt like they did this to Joey Logano in last year's Daytona 500, where the scoring loops clearly show that Joey Logano was ahead, even before the big huge wreck happened on the final lap. Finishing second is Alex Bowman. I wouldn't say Alex Bowman had a very good day or a great day. I think Alex Bowman had a very solid day. I think the Rick Hendrick cars were really very impressive. Chase Elliott was leading the Daytona 500. I don't know what happened to him. Fox never showed on what happened after he missed that huge wreck. Finishing third is Christopher Bell. Finishing fourth is Corey LaJoie. They had a really good car. I love their paint scheme, the Chili's paint scheme. That was a very nice paint scheme for them. Finishing fifth is Bubba Wallace. His pit crew has been really just been all over the place. They've been making too many errors. This has been happening way too much for them. They were able to miss the big huge wreck. Finishing in the top 5, I'll take that any day. Finishing sixth is AJ Allmendinger. They were kind of up and down just like Chase Elliott was. Finishing seventh is John Hunter Nemechek. He was also in the middle of that lap 5 crash. This wasn't actually his fault. Finishing eighth is Eric Jones, another Legacy Motorsport Ford. Finishing ninth is Noah Gragson. He did lead some laps earlier in the Daytona 500, a very nice debut for them. Finishing 10th is Chase Briscoe. Not the best day for Stewart-Haas Racing, but they got a top 10 out of it. I also want to bring up some honorable mentions as well. Kyle Busch did lead this Daytona 500. Like I said in the beginning, unfortunately they had a lot of miscues going on between missing a lug nut and too many men over the wall. It was just a lot of messy situations on pit road. Zane Smith finishing in the top 15. Another driver that Fox did not even mention in their broadcast. They were one of the other drivers that did miss the big wreck. Martin Truex Jr. finishing in the top 15 in the Daytona 500. He comes so close of winning the Daytona 500. It's very unfortunate that it falls right out of his lap. It's kind of giving me that same direction that Mark Martin did, where he was trying his hardest to win the biggest race of the season. Ross Chastain finishing in the 21st position. I really believe that he was going to win this race. He had the car for it. They were very aggressive to be in front. Ross Chastain tried his hardest to go down on the lower side of the track to block Austin Cedric. It did not pan out for Ross Chastain. Without question, Ross Chastain had this Daytona 500. That is your results of the 2024 Daytona 500. The restrictor plate pack racing for this Daytona 500 was very good. Besides the whole controversy between William Byron and Alex Bowman, you had such a very good race going. I just don't know how NASCAR could miss this. Even Clint Boyer even said that Alex Bowman was ahead.
You see the light on, you see Bowman ahead of Byron right there.
If the commentators see it more than you do, that is a huge question mark. Between the scoring loop and the freezing of the field when the caution lights hit, I just don't like this rule at all. Let them race back to the line. It's your biggest race of the season, the Daytona 500. Let the drivers have their moment to shine. This would have been a very exciting finish in this Daytona 500. Besides that, I think this Daytona 500 was very solid. If you guys want to see more videos, don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and comment. Take care, guys.